Now from the news team that's covering the Carolinas, this is Channel 9 Eyewitness News Sunday morning.
This man is accused of kidnapping 3 people, driving them to another county, then shooting one of them.
He was screaming, "Call 911."
The terrifying chain of events and one victim's desperate plea for help from those living nearby. And 2 people are facing charges in the murder of this young Charlotte mother. The way family and friends will remember her tonight. 6:59 now. This is a live look outside at Uptown. This morning we are waking up to a beautiful Sunday. Our meteorologists are tracking the warm week ahead and when rain could return. Good morning. I'm Elsa Gillis.
And I'm meteorologist Vicki Graff.
Vicki, that was a beautiful shot of Uptown. It's just gorgeous out.
Another beautiful day. You might not have noticed it, but we actually did have a cold front that moved through last night. It didn't bring us rain, but we are going to see some cooler temperatures for today. It's not so bad right now. It's 50 in Charlotte, 47 in Lincoln, 44 in Hickory, and mid-30s in the mountains. If you are heading out to Sunday services early on, I would grab a light jacket. It's a layers kind of day, though. Later today, you won't need that jacket or the sweater. We are slightly cooler in some neighborhoods compared to this time yesterday. Going through the afternoon, another nice and sunny day. If you're heading out to the 4-Wide Nationals at the ZMAX Dragway, plenty of sunshine, upper 60s by 4 o'clock, but I'm tracking a major warm-up on the way. I'll be pinpointing when we'll see 80s coming up.
I know it's going to be a beautiful week, guys. All right, thanks, Vicki. Well, we are following some breaking news this morning. 7 people are without a home right now after a fire overnight in Salisbury. It happened around 2:30 this morning on South Shaver Street off South Long Street. In these photos from the fire department, you can see the fire destroyed a large portion of the home. Firefighters are investigating what caused the fire. No one was home at the time. New this morning, the man accused in a high-profile murder case is back in Iredell County this morning. The sheriff's office tweeted out this photo last night as deputies brought Mark Pinkerton to jail. He is accused of going to Hugh Moose's home in Statesville to rob him, then killing him. Deputies arrested Pinkerton this week in Pennsylvania. He'll be in court tomorrow. And we have a sad update this morning. A kayaker has died after drowning at the Linville Gorge in Burke County. 24 rescuers tried to save the man on the Pinchin Trail on the western side of the gorge off Old NC 105. This is a picture from the rescue last night. Burke Emergency Services told us the man is from out of state, but they haven't released any other details. Developing this morning, South Korea says North Korean's leader Kim Jong-un has said he will close the main nuclear test site next month. South Korean President Moon Jae-in says North Korea made the announcement Friday when the 2 leaders met. North Korea says it also plans to invite experts and journalists from the U.S. and South Korea to the country soon. Now, President Trump is taking a bow for the tentative agreement between North and South Korean leaders, which ends a decades-long conflict.
I think I have a responsibility. I think other presidents should have done it.
The Peace Summit at the DMZ will be the setting stage for the president's meeting with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un in the coming weeks. Yesterday, President Trump tweeted he had spoken with the South Korea's president, stating things are going very well. Yesterday morning, we told you South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham said President Trump deserves the Nobel Peace Prize if he can negotiate a successful end to North Korea's nuclear program. Lindsey Graham made that statement during a Fox and Friends interview at the University of South Carolina Friday. This morning, this man is in jail accused of kidnapping 3 people from a lawn care business in Hickory, driving them to Caldwell County, then shooting one of them. The 3 victims were able to escape and beg neighbors for help.
He was screaming, "Call 911."
Eyewitness News reporter Stephanie Tinoco spoke to the neighbors who called 911 for help.
The people I spoke to are still in disbelief. They're wanting to know what could have possibly led a man to do this.
He hit head on into the tree out there.
Rick Ruffner heard a loud crash and then gunshots.
Boom, boom, boom.
Before a stranger started banging aggressively on his front door.
We're saying that somebody was trying to kill him, and please let him in, please let him in.
Ruffner says that guy was in a panic and forced himself inside his home in the Sawmills community, claiming there were 2 other victims and a gunman feet away.
His hands were taped and his feet were taped up, and he said that somebody had kidnapped him and held him at gunpoint.
He says the victim stayed with him until deputies arrived. Neighbors had no idea what was going on.
It was really scary.
The Caldwell County Sheriff's Office says 25-year-old Brennan Withers kidnapped 3 people from Kirby Maintenance and Lawn Care in Hickory and brought them here on Cannon Drive after shooting one of the victims multiple times.
He was screaming, "Call 911."
Tim Wilson says the man with gunshot wounds banged on his door begging for help.
There was pounding. I thought somebody was knocking it down, and began to yell, "Call 911, call 911."
Now they're just glad the suspected shooter has been caught.
And I hope that justice will serve him good.
Withers is facing charges for kidnapping and attempted murder. In the Satellite Center, Stephanie Tinoco, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
And Withers is set to face a judge for the first time Tuesday. Channel 9 will be in court that day. Happening tonight, family and friends will hold a candlelight vigil to remember a Charlotte mother. Officers arrested Ashley Helms and Richard Jordan Jr. in the death of 21-year-old Alexis Fraley. Police found her body Friday morning in an abandoned building in West Charlotte after she disappeared nearly 2 weeks ago. Police say Fraley and Jordan knew each other. Tomorrow, Jordan is set to appear before a judge for the first time. Helms will be extradited from South Carolina to face the murder and kidnapping charges here. And Channel 9 will be at tomorrow's court appearance, and we'll let you know what happens both on air and online at WSOCTV.com. One of the 4 people killed inside a Nashville Waffle House was laid to rest this weekend. Yesterday, family and friends celebrated D'Ebony Groves, who was studying to be a social worker. The CEO of Waffle House attended the service and spoke about the impact she had on those inside the restaurant that night.
They talked about the people who were in that restaurant before what happened, and specifically remembered your daughter and spoke of your daughter and her friend and said that they were singing gospel songs.
Police say Travis Rainking drove into the Waffle House parking lot last weekend, shot and killed 2 people in the parking lot, then went inside and continued firing. 2 others died inside the restaurant. He's facing several charges, including criminal homicide. New this hour, 3 people are dead and 8 more hurt after a 3-alarm fire in Queens, New York. This is video from the scene. Firefighters say the fire started just before midnight. 2 people died in the fire. A 3rd died at the hospital. 8 others are hurt, including 1 critically. It's not clear yet what caused the fire. It has been more than 2 weeks since more than 100 shots were fired into a nightclub in Hickory, killing 1 man. But police haven't said who is responsible for firing those shots. A welcome home party was being thrown for a man who had just gotten out of prison. There was a shooting outside the party. Another man, Tony Watts, died. 2 people are charged with having a gun as a felon, but not with murder. The Hickory Daily Record says police are still looking for 1 other person. Police are investigating if that shooting is connected to another one inside a home. A woman showed us how close bullets came to hitting her as she slept 2 weeks ago. She says the party at the nightclub was thrown for her grandson. A major story we are following for tomorrow morning. Mayor Vi Lyles will give the oath of office to the new Charlotte Fire Chief. Chief Reginald Johnson was hired last month and already has an ambitious list of things he wants to accomplish. He plans to visit all 42 Charlotte fire stations in all 3 shifts and says he's going to listen to firefighters who've dealt with some controversy over the last few years. Johnson replaces former Fire Chief John Hannon, who retired last year. At the time, sources told us Hannon retired because his job was in jeopardy after claims of low morale and the trial of former arson investigator Crystal Escher. She sued in 2016, saying CFD fired her in retaliation for raising concerns over building safety. A jury awarded Escher $1.5 million. Now, Channel 9 will be there for tomorrow morning's oath of office. In the meantime, you can read more about Chief Johnson and the department's past issues on WSOCTV.com. New this morning, for a 2nd year in a row, President Donald Trump chose to skip the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Instead, he traveled to Michigan for a campaign rally.
You may have heard I was invited to another event tonight, the White House Correspondents' Dinner. But I'd much rather be in Washington, Michigan than in Washington, D.C. right now.
The dinner was full of jabs at the president, the White House press secretary, and some of the other people in the Trump administration. Today, loved ones and the Lancaster County Sheriff's Office will attend a visitation for a deputy who died after collapsing on duty. Deputy James Kirk Jr. died Tuesday following a training event. Today's visitation is from 1 to 7 p.m. at Crawford Funeral Home. His funeral is tomorrow afternoon at 2 at Second Baptist Church in Lancaster. A woman has filed a lawsuit against Southwest Airlines after one of its plane's engines exploded, killing one person. Lilia Chavez also filed suit against the makers of the plane and engine. On April 17th, a Southwest flight destined for Dallas made an emergency landing in Philadelphia. The engine blew up about 20 minutes into the flight. The price tag for a new stadium in Gastonia is rising by the millions. Our partners at the Gaston Gazette report the Fuse District would be built north of Franklin Boulevard between Hill and Trenton Streets. The new estimated cost may be as high as $21 million, and that's up from the $15 million the city first estimated. The proposed stadium is expected to bring in $200,000 a year in new tax revenue. Some Charlotte streets will shut down this morning for the annual Open Street 704. Traffic Team 9's Mark Taylor breaks down the closures and how to get around it.
A great event that'll affect multiple neighborhoods. Open Street 704 starts today from 1 to 5 p.m. It's a great opportunity to get out and about. They're going to close some of the roads so folks can get out, move around, run, walk, bike, kind of explore several neighborhoods with your neighbors. This is going to affect Plaza Midwood, Belmont, Villa Heights, Noda, Optimist Park, and Commonwealth. So some of the roadways that'll be closed off to be able to do this will be Commonwealth. You're going to see Thomas Avenue up to Kennon Street, Pegram, Belmont, and North Davidson will all be affected. A great opportunity to get out and about, but not a great opportunity to drive around. So you will want to stay away unless you're heading to the events.
7:11 right now. A live look outside from our Lake Norman cam. You can see the sun is up. Meteorologist Vicki Graff has an update on how warm it'll get today.
And that's a beautiful view from our Lake Norman camera. We had a front that moved through last night. You can't tell on live early warning Doppler 9 just because it was a dry front. What you'll notice today, though, it's going to be slightly cooler. We stay dry yet again. Don't have to worry about rain, not just today, but over the next several days. And it is going to be a little breezy today with that dry air in place and that stronger wind. That is enhancing the fire danger threat for today. Be careful with any controlled burns or just burns in general. I'll have a look at when we could be looking at our next rain chance returning coming up.
Calling for changes once again. At 7:45, the way a deadly prison riot is making officials look at contraband inside prisons. Tomorrow, the Queen City will turn into Gulf City. At 7:30, I'll break down the major changes at this year's Wells Fargo Championship. But first, this man is in jail accused of killing a deputy. The massive days-long manhunt and police to find him.